It is good to be back on the mainland and talking Bulls basketball again. As some of you know, I missed most of Bulls Summer League games as I was out on vacation. I did, however, watch some of the replays and highlights, and I did get a chance to catch their final Summer League game live against the Lakers, which was not a good game given the Bulls got crushed. But seeing Matas in that first quarter after already seeing all the highlights from Summer League play has gotten me pretty excited as a Bulls fan. And while I'm going to try and temper expectations as much as I possibly can, realizing that this is just Summer League, we saw guys like Denzel Valentine, Tony Snell, Doug McDermott ball out in Summer League back in the day. This just feels a little bit different after watching these first games of the 19-year-old play out in Vegas. And so I had to talk about it and give my initial thoughts and reactions to seeing Buzelis out there on the court against the Summer League competition. So what's going on, everyone? You're listening to Bulls Central here. Hope you're all doing well. By the way, if you can, help the channel and the video out, as usually when you take some time away and don't post for a while, it often does negatively impact the YouTube algorithm, at least from what I've noticed anyway. So give it a like, a subscribe if you haven't already, all those good things. Really appreciate it, guys. Now, of course, it's going to be natural for Bulls fans after coming off two very disappointing seasons. You could even say the season before that as well was disappointing when they initially looked great and then fell off a cliff towards the end of the year and got gentlemen swept in the first round of the playoffs by the Bucks. But after having some pretty miserable seasons with little hope for the future and direction of this franchise, naturally, you're going to be excited when you see a young prospect doing some pretty special things in Summer League. And of course, it's also easy to get a little excited knowing we're going to see a very different team this season with a new focus and direction of a youth movement. So yes, I'm aware some of this might be a little overreacting. Some of it might be a little bit of coping given we haven't had much to look forward to on this team. But if you've been able to see Matas play, and I'll also talk about some of the other guys from Summer League as well, but if you've seen this guy play, even just watching his highlights, you can see the potential there and that this kid could be something special. He still has a lot of work to do, don't get me wrong, still very raw, a lot of areas of improvement he needs to work on, which I'll discuss, but I can honestly say this has been the most excited I've been about a prospect for the Bulls and watching them in Summer League since Derrick Rose. Yeah, I'll admit I got a little excited when I saw Denzel Valentine in Summer League. I got a little hyped even for guys like Bobby Portis, maybe even Wendell Carter Jr., but no, this one is different, and I'll tell you why. First of all, we knew Matas was a pretty confident guy. You could go even as far as to say he could be a bit overconfident or cocky. Not in just what we saw from him in his play on the G League Ignite, but also in how he handled himself with the media, believing he was the best player from his draft class, confident in his abilities as a player, and having that killer instinct when he's on the court. But then in seeing him in Summer League, we got to see that on full display, not only in his assertiveness and decisiveness on offense, but his aggression and in trying to create contact, pushing to get to the basket, being vocal on the court, picking himself back up after making mistakes and not letting it get to him mentally, playing with that competitive edge. I mean, for me, what I love from Matas more than anything was his energy. Throwing down dunks like he was trying to break the backboard every time he went up for it, screaming on every big possession, whether it was him scoring or his teammates, giving his opponents stare downs after putting them on a poster. I love players like that. I know I say this all the time, but it's what I loved about Joakim Noah so much because of the passion and energy that he played with. And aside from a few on the Bulls roster last season, namely guys like Caruso and Coby White, you didn't really have a lot of guys on the roster on that team that played with that kind of energy and passion. So that's what got me hyped more than anything, is having a player, aside from his potential and skills that he brings, is having that energy, playing with that passion, playing like you want to be here and giving it your all when you're on the court. That's what I want to see and what I'm excited about most for Matas Buzelis. Now, aside from that, there are a lot of things that we saw from Buzelis and what he's shown in his flashes thus far. Big time athlete. Like, we knew he was pretty athletic in seeing his highlights for the G League Ignite, but then when you're watching him more closely on every possession because he's playing for your team, you see that this dude can get up, is incredibly fluid and good at handling the ball for his size, and has great body control and range of motion and slashing to the basket. The way he's able to switch up his dribble while moving in traffic is not something I expected from Buzelis and makes him all the more versatile as a scorer on offense. He's faster than I expected with his quick first step off the dribble, moves well off the ball and cutting to the basket. He's got decent court vision that will hopefully continue to improve as he develops. And man, because of his hops, because of his ability to move off the ball in the pick and roll, the Bulls finally have a lob threat on their team. a legitimate lob threat. And then on defense, he's actually shown great flashes with his ability to protect the rim. He has great instincts on that end of the floor and knowing where he needs to be. His timing when he leaps to block a shot is on point. Shows that all the talk of him possessing strong two-way potential is there. He had 10 blocks in his summer league stint, averaging 2 blocks a game, a lob threat, and some rim protection, 2 things the Bulls have needed badly. Yeah, sign me up. Now, of course, there are a lot of things about Matas that still needs to be worked on. I mean, his biggest red flag coming into the draft, and the reason a lot of people speculate why he fell all the way down to 11 when he was projected to go top 5, was his poor shooting. And while Matas has said that his poor shooting season in the G League was really an outlier because of his role and circumstance of the team and that he knows what he's capable of as a shooter, didn't really inspire a lot of confidence for fans to think otherwise when he shot just 21% from deep in those 5 games. But not even just his 3-point shooting, only shooting 34% from the field as a whole against Summer League competition is not great. But again, kind of goes back to the fact that we know that Matas is a project player that is going to require a lot of development. He's got to get better at finishing through contact, especially when he starts playing in the NBA, real NBA games, and a lot of that is because of his rather slender frame. He's got to put on more weight, get bigger, not only to play through contact and handle his own against other bigs, but also in defending in the post and boxing out for rebounds. Again, only 19, so that frame and build will get filled out over time. But it is another area Matas has to work on in getting bigger and stronger. And if he can get there, it's going to make him that much more of a threat on offense when he's able to play in the post, draw contact, and finish through contact. Because as I mentioned before, he scored a fair amount of his points in Summer League by getting to the free throw line by drawing contact. It's a welcome sight to see to show that he's not afraid to get hurt and generate offense that way. And then of course the other rookie mistakes, things that have to be worked on, better IQ and awareness at times when he's on the court, being a little prone to turnovers. But again, I'm not as worried about all of that, all the little things that will come with time, development, and maturity. As a player who's already shown great promise and honed in skills for a 19-year-old who's a great athlete, very fluid, high motor, and plays with a ton of passion, that's what I'm more focused on for the future. And when I see Matas play and see the guards the Bulls had on this team, on their Summer League roster, and knowing that he'll have guys like Giddey, Coby, Ayo to help facilitate and get him better looks, finding him cutting the basket, operating in the pick and roll. I mean, Giddey and Matas have the workings of being a very good duo on the court on offense with Giddey's playmaking and Matas' finishing ability at the rim. Now, aside from Matas Buzelis, the other guy I really like seeing in Summer League was Julian Phillips, who it was good to see him back, first of all, out there on the court after ending his season with an injury in his rookie year. But like what we saw from him in the limited minutes he played last year, hustle player, can get extra possessions with his ability to get offensive boards, great instincts on defense on the perimeter to get steals and push the ball in transition. Like Buzelis, of course, very athletic, high flyer, and what was more impressive to me is that it looks like his jump shot has really improved, with his 3-point stroke getting a lot better. And then even Dosunmu, I mean, looked really great out there in Summer League as well, crashing the boards, getting second chance points, decent job with defense in the paint. I don't think we're going to be seeing Sanogo cracking the rotation this year. Well, I guess if the Bulls are somehow able to trade Vucevic, then maybe, but he's not quite there yet in finding a way into a Bulls roster rotation, especially when he's just a two-way player. But he was obviously one of the better players in this Summer League roster for the Bulls. The Summer League roster wasn't that good though, let's be real. Like, it was fun watching Buzelis, but the Bulls as a team were okay, going 2-3 in their 5 games. Not that the team results really mean much of anything in Summer League. Summer League is all about individual players showcasing what they can do and less about how a team shows up. So I'm not really going to get mad for how things turned out, as the biggest thing for me in watching Summer League was seeing how the Bulls lottery pick showed out, and he showed up well, giving me some hope and hype for the future. I would love to hear what you guys think though of Matas Buzelis through Summer League play thus far. Let me know in the comments. As always, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.